My name is Samaa Abdurraqib. I'm currently the Executive Director of Maine Humanities Council. I'm a former volunteer leader for Outdoor Afro. I noticed that the eastern bluebirds, they're just sticking around longer. So I'm a big birder, and when I first moved here 12 years ago, I thought that the eastern bluebirds went away and they came back at the beginning of the spring, so in March. And then I started to notice that I would see them in February, and then I would see them in January, and now I pretty much see them year-round. The observation stood out to me because I always associate bluebirds with spring. People put out the bluebird boxes and you can see them in fields. I remember when I first moved here, I would go birding, and I can remember feeling warm and the sun on me and walking outside and seeing the bluebirds busy around the bird boxes. I remember the first time I saw one in February, there was still snow on the ground. And it stood out to me because it wasn't in its full mating plumage, but they're a beautiful color blue, and that beautiful color blue was really contrasted against the dirty white snow, and it felt a little shocking to me. I was confused. I'm curious about whether or not their presence here through the colder winter months, whether or not that's indicative of climate change. I kind of assume that. But then I also have bigger questions about whether or not their presence here, how that affects the total bird population, eastern bluebird population in Maine. I wonder if there's an abundance here now, over an abundance here now. I wonder if any of the bluebirds leave, or if they all just kind of hang out here. I wonder how that affects food supply for bluebirds through the winter, and other birds who eat similar things to the bluebirds, chickadees who stay here during the winter. I just wonder if the presence of more birds affects the food sources of other birds. I made these observations when I would be intentionally going out and birding, but I started to notice bluebirds staying here through the winters when I would just be out visiting friends. As long as you can take the time to notice what's around you, or just be aware of what's familiar in your surroundings, you can notice the changes in your neighborhood. You can start to notice the changes just thinking about what you're used to and what has shifted, over the years. What is different now? I think it's important to be aware because things in the natural world change because of our behaviors, or something is impacting a species or some plant life, and that makes everything else change. And so it's really important to notice these things. Even the smallest change, you just never know all the things that that's connected to. And so it's interesting and it's fascinating.